students call me Coach G, and I'm the physical education teacher for Yeshivat Noam Elementary School. So this is my presentation, physical education and Yeshivat Noam. So this presentation, the purpose of this presentation is I'm going to explain how creating a positive physical education, the benefits from physical education, and the current curriculum provided for the Yeshivat Noam students. So when you're creating a curriculum and creating physical education, there's a few things that I like to go through. First and most important, safe environment in which all the students can be successful. So my main rule is you always need to be safe. If there's something wrong, the students need to bring it up. I always have to prepare the floor so that when the students are engaged in the activity, they're making sure that they can perform it without any issues and that they can be as successful. Opportunity to learn. We want to make sure that the teacher is qualified. Time management, which is another thing I like to focus on. Focus on more on task and less off task. So making sure that instructions are clear, all the equipment set out for the students, and also management and transitions go smoothly. Meaningful content, make sure that the activities are age appropriate, because you don't want to teach someone that's in first grade a skill that is more involved with a fifth grader. So you want to make sure that every sport, if I do teach a sport, it's age appropriate so that that student can benefit from that activity. And I also go through the national and state standards of physical education, so making sure that they're progressing cognitively, effectively, and psychomotorly. Appropriate instructions. I always make sure that I always give a visual and verbal instructions together, because sometimes if you just explain the task, they might not understand it, so maybe I'll perform the activity. So if I'm saying dribble with your finger pads, I'm not just going to say finger pads because they may not know what does that mean. So while I'm demonstrating, I'll visually show them so that they'll have a better idea of that particular skill. Just demonstrating like I just mentioned. That's a repeat. And also formative and summative assessments. So every time a student is doing an activity, I make little recordings of their progress. And if I feel that progress is great, maybe I'll challenge them a little bit more so that they can develop more. If I feel that the student needs a little bit more assistance, I'll modify the skills so that they can benefit from it and eventually learn and develop the skills. Benefits of physical education, and these are the list. Improves physical fitness, develops gross and fine motor skills. Gross motor skills is like running, jumping, swinging, striking with the feet, striking with the hands. Fine motor movements is small things, maybe like a certain grip on a golf club, certain grip on a hockey stick, and I want to make sure that they can develop those different motor skills. Provides regular helpful physical activity, teaches self-discipline. So when the student is doing an activity, they got to realize they're working with others. So when they're doing, especially a sport activity, it's not solely on them. They have to work in a group. So it kind of teaches them how to work with others, and also they may not necessarily be going at that moment. They need to make sure that someone that's doing the activity has an opportunity. Helps develop students' responsibility for health and fitness, increase moral development, leadership, and cooperative with others. So in my class especially, what I like to do is I like to give certain students certain days a task, either like a leadership task where they can be a captain, maybe they can decide what teams they can choose from, and sometimes I give students an opportunity to share something that they learned either outside of school, through camps, through different sports, so that they can show and share with the class, so it gives them that little leadership role. Stress reductions, once they're moving around, their endorphins happen, so they're able to calm down during academics. Strengthens peer relationships. Most of the activities I do has them working with other students, so it has them develop relationships with others. Improves self-confidence and self-esteem. Teaches respect for your classmates, teammates, and your body. Assists in goal setting, and also improves the academics that I mentioned before. There we go. So my particular curriculum, I like to break it down into different activities. My favorite to do are stations, and what stations are is in the gym, I either break it down into sections of 4, sections of 2, sections of 6. And what I do is in each particular station, I have an activity going on. So with first graders, I might have a basketball station. So they're improving their dribbling skills, making sure that they're able to manipulate the ball. Another station might be baseball, and I might incorporate batting. So it helps them with their manipulation. It also improves their visual tracking. So these stations I like to incorporate, especially with the younger grades, because not only it allows them to do different activities per class, it keeps everyone engaged, there's 100% participation, and also it changes up the activity, so they're not doing the same thing for 40 minutes, they're breaking it up to about 7 minutes to 8 minutes, depending on time and transitions. Small group activities, usually those are in groups of 4 and 5, so if I'm doing maybe like a mini game, rather than having all 12, 24 students participating at once, I might split the gym so that there's a group over here and a group over here. Again, it increases participation and on-task time. Some activities may require let me rephrase it, sorry. If they're learning a new activity, it might be better for them to do it on a one-to-one group. So if they're learning something for the first time, I might do a partner pair up. So it allows them to focus on that skill and that individualized skill to help them develop. Individual, usually that I incorporate with the older grades. Full class engagement, where I have everyone participating. Usually I do that with my 4th and 5th graders when we do tournaments, either in hockey, basketball, soccer, which gives them a full effect of how a sport may be when they're either outside of school, during camps, or leagues. And this is how I break up each of my grades. Usually kindergarten and 1st grade, we do similar activities, but of course not every student is the same. So I have different modifications where if a student is having, not really problems, but they're having a hard time, I can adjust the equipment. So if I'm doing a basketball activity with them, what I'll do is I'll have regular basketballs, I'll have miniature basketballs, and I might have foam basketballs. And I give the student the choice of which equipment they want to use. So if they feel comfortable enough to use a regular basketball, they're encouraged to do that. If they're having a little issues and they do the regular basketball and they feel that they're having a hard time maintaining control, I might, assist them and persuade them to use the modified equipment so that they can have a better time with it. So for the 1st graders and kindergarten, I always discuss about safety equipment with them. Spatial awareness, I always talk about big space, which is very important. You want to make sure that you spread out and you're not on top of each other so that you can participate and you can move around better. Locomotor movements, like hop, skip, jump, because these skills may seem easy, but at a certain age, that might be hard. So I might have to teach them how to do a jump rope, making sure that the timing of swinging the rope over their body and they jump at a certain time so that they can perform the activity. And also non-locomotor movements like bending, twisting. We go over balance, making sure that they have good balance, because balance incorporates in almost every sport. Incorporates in hockey, making sure that you can fall over, soccer, gymnastics. Object manipulation, so when they're throwing, kicking, rolling, I want to make sure that we work on that so that they can be able to participate in the activity. Basic fitness components. Then as the year and as the curriculum continues, I like to start to introduce the sports. I don't start off with sports right away, but I do more individualized skills. So the sports, some of the things that I may cover is baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, volleyball, tennis, football, handball, and a lot more. I also do, when I do in stations, sometimes I might have like a gymnastics station so that they can learn different types of gymnastic moves. Something that I'm trying to do this year, I'm trying to introduce a yoga station so that, because physical education is not always about, developing muscles. It might be involve flexibility. So I feel that that's something that should be added into the curriculum. And also the modified sport games, taking the traditional way and just changing it. 2nd grade, at this level, I feel that with the individualized skills already learned, I like to kind of move it on a little bit. So we do review the spatial awareness, balance, object manipulations, but then at this point, I tend to get more close to traditional games, but still modified in a way that it allows 100% participation and allows them to be involved in the activity and also have fun. So again, with the same sports, modified games, and then this is when I start to introduce the traditional styles. And then for the 4th and 5th graders, at this point, I feel that they had mastered the skills that they have learned. But of course, if there's need for some review, we can do that. And then we get into modified games, and then we start to go into the traditional games. In conclusion, there's more to physical education than just being physical. It's also a physical and a mental, relationship building, everything like that. Provides a well-organized curriculum. Lessons will allow the students to maximize their involvement and learning during class. I had a montage made, but for some reason it wasn't loading up to the PowerPoint, but I do have a few photos that I can show you of how the gym may be set up. So let me get that up for you. All right, so this is one of my style stations. This is a baseball station, and what the student is doing is they're throwing the beanbag up in the air and they're trying to catch it in the cone. So when they're thinking, oh, what is this develop? And I keep on mentioning to the students, this is a baseball station, and if you're playing a game of baseball, there are batters and there's people out in the field. So what this is simulating is this child is playing in the field, and what they need to do is they need to throw the beanbag in the air, which represents the ball, and they are trying to catch it with the cone. And just a few more photos I'll just quickly go over. There. This is a basketball station, doing different things. This is a soccer station. This is my fitness station, different things. I have the fitness guys that can do different cardio activities, and a lot more. All right, so now we're gonna do a little activity. So what I need everyone to do is, if you notice, there is